What's up, everybody? It's Strings and Sweaters, and I watched the last 5 Florida Panthers games so you don't have to. Let's get into this. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you guys so much for clicking on this video and spending your time watching my content. So, I watched the last 5 Panthers games. I'm going to give you a quick overview of how they went and then give you just my predictions for how they're going to do for their overall season, where they are now, and anything that I'm looking to see in improvements wise, maybe changes for the offense. Over the last 5 games, the Panthers ended the series with mixed results. In their first matchup against the Wild, early on in that game, it was evident the offense was struggling to get on the same page. So they looked sloppy and disconnected multiple times. Verhaeghe had the puck right in front of the net, and there was just no help around him, and he had to settle for a lackluster front-hand-backhand shot that just hit the pads, and no luck. So a lack of coordination and creativity on the offense side. It really put a lot of pressure on the defense of the Panthers and Bobrovsky to come up big for Florida. The defense had plenty of issues. They looked asleep out there for most of the game. They were making soft contact checks and hits. They weren't following through. To put a bow on this burning pile of feces, Bobrovsky just carelessly made just bad decisions, going down way too early on one-on-one chances that he probably could have stopped, letting in preventable goals. So really bad start to the season. Is this let's fire the coach, start selling off players? No, it's not time to ring the alarm. It's just the first game of the season. Sometimes it takes teams a while to get chemistry on offense. Let's go to our next game. Okay, so in their next game against the Jets, the Panthers faced a 4-6 loss. The defense continued to struggle. They were embarrassingly slow in the neutral zone, and they had the tendency to just play with both eyes closed. They just were not looking around for players moving into the center for feeds. They were puck watching. It was just bad overall for the defense. Although they scored their first goal of the season in this game, on a power play, the defense allowed the Jets to capitalize almost immediately. Lowry for the Jets managed an impressive goal where he essentially had no stick but turned over the puck in the Panthers zone, and then hockey dribbled it down the ice, and in stride he was able to grab a stick off the bench and then send a beautiful feed for a pretty leaky goal on Bobrovsky. This goal is definitely a candidate for one of the top goals this season. But, in hindsight, the Panthers were not playing their best game, nowhere near it. So even though this goal was a beauty, it's just Panthers are not in sync with each other right now. One of the positives from this loss was that Evan Rodriguez is just showcasing just amazing feeding skills, and the dude is an assist playmaker. Sad the Penguins had to get rid of him. We could really use his skills right now, but that dude's a monster. All right, so at this point, Panthers are 0-2. This is not how the Panthers wanted to start the season, and it's important to keep in mind, though, that these 2 games were away games. It's very difficult to play in Minnesota and then go up to Winnipeg when you're from Florida. It's just a difficult way to start the season. I don't know if the Panthers coaching staff really saw these games as potential wins. Maybe you try to get one on the road and then, the other one's a loss, split it even. But these were against 2 difficult opponents on the road. But let's talk about the Panthers game against the Devils. Okay, so the Panthers were able to bounce back. The Devils, they beat them 4-3. And this is where we start to see an emergence of some stars for the Panthers. Before, the offense really was a dud. It wasn't doing anything. There were some goals here and there, but it just wasn't a power that we see in this Devils game. So the Panthers, Reinhart and Verhaeghe, these are the guys. These are the guys that start to, really come out of the woodwork, and they're making a name for themselves against the Devils here. So Verhaeghe and Reinhart both got goals in this game early on to really kind of solidify a lead. They had a nice, 4-goal lead on the Jets. Bobrovsky was stepping up. He was having amazing clutch saves in the first 2 periods, literally doing barrel roll maneuvers on the ice to stop these shots. And the team was now skating with a lot more urgency, a lot better puck movement, especially on the power play. Unfortunately, as the game progressed in the third quarter, the Panthers' attention to detail began to wane. They reverted back to their earlier selves. They gave up this 4-goal lead, and the only reason they won this game was that the Devils just ran out of time on this comeback because it looked like the ice had just completely tilted in the Devils' favor. So still problems. Let's go to our next game. All right, so next the Panthers played the Maple Leafs at home. And I want to bring up something before we get into this. This whole time, I've been really talking in generalities, right? Let's talk some specifics. For instance, where's Matthew Tkachuk? No goals yet. Little action on the ice. Definitely not really, creating definitely not creating plays. Just Matthew Tkachuk, you need to step up at this point. Like, you can't have Reinhart and Verhaeghe have to carry the team. It's not going to work like that. You're the star, and you need to produce the goals. Anyhow, the Panthers go on to play the Maple Leafs, and both offenses come alive here. And we see Tkachuk also come alive. He's on a mission to score. He's in front of the goal. He's making shots. Unfortunately, he's, sometimes they go in, sometimes they don't. But Tkachuk is definitely, he's driven and he is motivated to score and make a change to this season. Bobrovsky's performance also improved. And Stenlund and Ekman-Larsson contributed to goals. The defense struggled, definitely with the penalty kills. Even though the defense struggled, I will say Kulikov's feeds to the front of the net were clutch in this game. And you could really start to see a shift in energy on the Panthers' offense with Stenlund's first goal of the season coming in this game. So Stenlund had this beautiful wrister from the blue line, and it rung off the post crossbar into the net. And the sound of that ringing, it can only be described as the light bulb going off above the Panthers' offense's head. And it kind of just clicked from there. That kind of gave them that motivation of like, guys, let's get out here and score. Let's take these shots. Let's see what happens. So Ekman-Larsson had a beautiful follow-up goal with just seconds left in the first period. So to start the second period, we had some great saves by Bobrovsky, but unfortunately those saves were negated with sloppy defense by Kulikov in front of the net, just giving up, easy possession. So really nothing too positive overall I could say for the defense in this game. Although I will say there was an amazing block shot by Kulikov to secure the win at the end of this game. But really my praises are going to go to Reinhart. And he got the empty netter in this game, making it a 3-1 victory over the Leafs. And Reinhart, this is the game where we see him really start to emerge as the Panthers' main star this season, and we will see that when we go over our stats. All right, finally, we're going to talk about the Canucks game. So both teams came out with super strong offenses, super fast-paced passing and skating. The Panthers, they faced challenges on defense still, but Bobrovsky made a poor decision earlier in the game to basically have a long clear that got picked off, and then it just resulted in a super easy goal for the Canucks. The Panthers really struggled with the Canucks power play. They allowed numerous goals in during the power play. And then, despite a potential comeback that the Panthers could have achieved, they kind of got shut down by the Canucks scoring. Also, I want to talk about Casey DeSmith. Penguins just let him go this season, and he looked great. He had a really acrobatic pad save where he extended that leg, and he has a super tall frame. I believe he's 6'5". So DeSmith, he has the power to kind of stun teams. They think they're going to be facing a backup goalie, and he kind of goes beast mode sometimes. But still, this is a lot to blame on the defense for the Panthers. Their offense is still clicking, but it's just the defense is allowing too many goals. And let's quickly do a bonus game before I talk about the overall Panthers play. Let's talk about the Sharks here. The Panthers beat the Sharks. I watched a little bit of this game. The Sharks are rebuilding. It's very difficult to sort of, take anything too seriously from this win. They won 3-1. The Sharks really don't have many stars. They don't have too productive of an offense. But a good win anyways for the Panthers. So let's do a summary here. The main reason I am seeing for the Panthers struggle, you guys can probably guess, is the defense is just constantly puck watching in front of the net. Whenever I see the puck get taken behind the net, all heads are behind there. They're not looking at all at the feeds that are going to the front of the net. Particularly in the Sharks game, they were able to score a goal off what they called a reverse pass from behind the net. But really what it was is the Panthers' backup goalie wasn't looking long enough at the guy behind the net, and he changed his view to the other side, and the guy behind the net still had the angle to make the pass to his right side, literally giving him a wide open net to shoot at. I mean, it's just small things like that where it's like the attention to detail and sort of the awareness of the defense is just not there right now. The biggest positive I can say about the Panthers season so far is that Reinhart is really coming into his own as a big star in Florida. And if Matthew Tkachuk can meet him with this, scoring output, the Florida Panthers can become just as dangerous as they were last year. But let's talk about the road forward. So the Panthers play the Kraken Saturday. I believe the Kraken, they can surprise you, but I believe that that's a pretty even matchup. I would suggest that the Panthers rest Barkov. I suggest that they rest him for this game. I think the Panthers can probably pull off a victory without Barkov. But a game that they really need to prepare for looking forward is against the undefeated Boston Bruins. The Bruins are going to be a tough matchup. And yes, the Florida Panthers were able to stun the Bruins in the playoffs last year, but this is going to be a tough one, especially if the Panthers defense keeps playing the way it does. All right, let's quickly just talk about overall stats. So the team right now, Florida Panthers, have 6 points, putting them in the middle of the league standings. They have 3 wins, 3 losses. Reinhart, 7 goals, 9 assists. Absolutely outrageous. Rodriguez, 2 goals, 6 assists. Barkov, 1 goal, 5 assists. Tkachuk, 6 assists, 0 goals. And then Verhaeghe, 3 goals, 0 assists. Let's talk about defense. Kulikov is a plus-minus of +3. Stenlund, a plus minus of +1. Not what we want to see from our defensive players. And then lastly, injuries. We have, like I mentioned before, Barkov is on day-to-day watch. And then we also have Sam Bennett, who is on IR. So the Panthers, let me give you my final say on how they might do leading into November. So rocky start for them. They definitely need to use some of these off days that they're getting up on this upcoming schedule to work on their defense. I think Bobrovsky has a chance to get hot and really get them on a streak as long as their offense just keeps getting better and better. That is one thing I'll say is what I've noticed is their offense is just getting better and better and more productive every game. I do see the Panthers definitely making the playoffs this year, but probably close to that same wild card spot that they had last year. Anyhow, let me know what you guys think about the Panthers season so far in the comments. And let me know in the comments if you want me to do the last 5 games of any other NHL teams you might be curious about. It's hard to keep up with all these games. They have like 4 a day, so I'm doing this hard work for y'all. Anyhow, this has been Strings and Sweaters. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.